everyone, this is Robyn, and thank you so much for signing up for my Wonderful Moments online class. This is a watercoloring class, and I absolutely love how these projects have turned out. If you're new to my online classes, welcome. I hope you have a wonderful time today. And if you're one of my returning class members, welcome back. It's so good to see you in my classes. Okay, so we will jump right in. This is what you should have received if you ordered the regular class package, just without the upgrades. You should have received the Wonderful Moments stamp set, along with the gorgeous grape ink pad and the aqua painters, and then the class materials packet. For this class, you will also need either a stays-on ink pad or one of our old basic black archival ink pads that work with the watercolor. You'll also need Bermuda Bay, soft suede, and melon mambo inks. So let's go ahead and jump right in and open up our class materials packet. I also recommend that you have either a paper towel, or this is just a baby cloth. Use something like that so we can clean off our aqua painter in between colors. So I'll go ahead and open this up. And then you'll also need your adhesives. I think you need glue dots maybe for one of the projects. And you'll need scissors, and you'll need dimensionals. And that's just about it. This class does not require a big shot or anything like that. So I did all that work for you ahead of time. Okay, so we're going to open up this class materials packet. And we use a lot of the watercolor paper in the class, because I think you get the best results when you use the watercolor paper when you're watercoloring. Okay, so your class pack of materials will look like this. You will have the envelopes on the top. These are 6 Whisper White envelopes. And you can stamp them up and coordinate them with the cards however you'd like. And then we'll just jump in with this first card that has the basic black card base. And just a reminder that I only make one of each design, but you get to make 2. So you can either do them both at the same time, or you can press pause, or you can do the whole entire class 2 times to make it last longer and do one of the cards each time. So I'm going to separate these into 2 stacks to show you what you should have received. You'll have 2 basic black, 2 melon mambo, 2 of the embossed Whisper White. Then you will have 2 of the other basic black, 2 watercolor paper, 2 of the strips of the melon mambo, and then you'll have some 2 to 3 pearls. We might only need 2, it's up to you when we're doing that part. And then this beautiful white, I can't even think right now, you know, polka dot ribbon. At the very bottom of the stack, I'm going to point this out. Oops. Oh, I just totally threw that off my table. That's funny. At the very bottom of the stack, I'm going to pull this out. Above the chipboard, where is this one? Here it is. Oh, I know I put them in there. I package up all my classes myself, so if something's missing, it's my fault. Completely my fault. Sometimes I get helpers, but most of the time I do it. So this is your Wonderful Moments online class supply list. I have every different card design. I have the sizes of the cardstock. If I had to cut any cardstock to a certain size, I have the measurements there. And then I have any extra items that I used along with their item code that we've used in the class. So hopefully you find that helpful. So for this card, this one, it's my favorite because my daughter's getting married at the end of this month, actually at the end of December. And we're going to use this beautiful bride, and then we're using For the Bride. So those are the only 2 stamps you need. I have them all ready to go here. And we're going to start with the stamping and then the watercoloring. Now I do recommend, since these are photopolymer stamps, they don't have that extra foam padding underneath. I recommend using something underneath. I'm using one of Stampin' Up's Pierce mats, foam mats, but you can also use just a stack of paper or a paper pad. Just gives you a little bit of cushion underneath. Okay, so this is our watercolor paper right here, and we're going to use the Stays On ink. Okay, and since this is a bigger stamp, I like to do it upside down, and that way I don't get, well, I still got some ink. I'm going to wipe that off actually. We don't want that on our paper at all. That's why it's good to have, we have our chamois too that you can use. Okay, I'm going to ink that up. Try not to get it on the block. And then I'm going to just stamp it right on here and press it down firmly. I should have a nice image right there. I do. And I'll set that aside. Now I'm going to stamp for the bride. And I'm just going to have that kind of up at the top right. Ta-da. Okay, I'm going to put my ink pad away because we don't need it until the next card. And you'll want to have your paper dry in between. I'm actually going to use a little piece of our, I'm going to use a background piece when I'm doing the watercolor, just so it doesn't get on my table or anything like that. So I'm just going to have a little piece over here. I don't need that. Okay, so the colors that I'm using for this one, I'm using the Soft Suede, Bermuda, and Melon Mambo. Now I'm going to use one of the brushes. You can use, there's two different tips, the one with a thick tip, or there's one that's a little bit smaller. So I honestly don't think it matters which one you use. So we're going to start with the Bermuda Bay. And what we're going to do, I have the new style ink pads here, and I'm just going to squish it together, and I'm going to pop a knuckle in between. I just kind of squeeze it like this. And then when you open it, there should be some. You might have to squeeze it really hard while it's closed. This is going to be your palette for watercolor, or for watercoloring. And I'm going to just fill this up with water. Fill up your aqua painters. They just twist off, and then you fill them with water from your tap. Just regular plain water. And now I'm going to squeeze some water droplets in here. And I want this to be super light. This first color I'm doing, I want to be super light, so I'm even going to kind of, so I added kind of a bit of water. Just want it to be really light. What I'm going to do is kind of just go around carefully. I'm just going to kind of go around and give like a halo of the blue color. Try not to get it on the image at all. Just kind of halo it around, and it should be super easy because it's watercolor. See how I'm doing that? It's really pretty to do that. And I'm not going all the way to the end. I'm just kind of pulling it through like that. You can see it very well. And then I'm not going to go at the bottom at all. I'm just going to kind of go where I think her dress would kind of be. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I want it really, really light. So I'm going to make sure that it's not dark at all. And just kind of give her the little halo. Just makes the image really pop. I love it. And this one I'm going to go all the way down to the end of the dress. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that I have just like a little halo, isn't it? It's just really pretty. And then I'm going to clean off I like to squeeze it and then clean it off like this. I squeeze it, use a paper towel, a baby wipe. You can use an old towel that's a little bit damp if you'd like to do that as well. And then I'm going to put this away. I don't need my Mambo anymore. And now I'm going to squeeze my soft suede. So my daughter's the bride, and she does have brown hair, so this works out for me. I don't have brown hair. So you can customize this too if you have a different color hair for the bride that you're giving this to. I'm going to kind of just mess around till I see the color that I want. And then I'm going to just watercolor in her hair. Really easy to do. And then I'm going to, you can use your background paper, but I'm just going to use this wipe here. And now Close that. We are going to take the Melon Mambo, give it a good squeeze, open it up. Now I want it first, I want it to be really light, so I'm going to add some water and just not pull out very much ink. And then I'm going to just lightly color her bouquet. Do you see how I did that? Just lightly colored it. Now I'm going to take the darker color, put my end in, and I'm just going to kind of make some little dark little circles in here, and it looks like kind of accent colors. Isn't that cool? Because my daughter, her bouquet is mostly white roses, and we have pops of the burgundy in hers. And so I thought, how could I do that with using the same color? So that's a good way to make your ink color choices go a little bit further. You can kind of create your own. Okay, so now we have all of the watercoloring done, and this is not dry, so you can either set it aside and let it dry for a bit, or you can speed up the process and use a heat tool. So I'm going to actually just heat tool mine just lightly, do it until it completely dries, and then I will be right back. Okay, now my image is fairly dry, and I'm going to start layering this up. I'm going to add some of our snail adhesive to the back. I think this might be dirty a little, but that's okay. Adhesive to the back of this, and you may want to add it on all 4 sides so it lays flatter since you did watercolor it. Add it on the black cardstock, and that will just make it pop a little bit for you. Now we're going to take the basic black cardstock and fold it in half, and you notice it's a black base, so the question always is, how do I write on the inside? Well, you can use our white chalk pen to write on the inside, or you can add either a white or a coordinating color. And so I have given you a little quarter sheet of our Melon Mambo that coordinates, and we're going to put that on the inside, or you could use white if you wanted to. So that'll go on the inside. Oops. Preferably straight, and you'll have a little bit of the black showing around. Okay, so now we are going to take this embossed white with one of my favorite embossing folders that is on the supply sheet. It's called Tufted if you don't own it yet. I really love it. Okay, we're going to add this on the black cardstock. And now I'm going to take the little strip of the Melon Mambo. And I'm going to have this go kind of on the bottom-ish here, like a third up from the bottom. Okay, and now what I would do for this, you can use a lot of dimensionals, or you can just use our strips. We have these come in really long foam adhesive strips. They're good for if you're making any kind of paper shakers, window cards. These are perfect for that, or just a big piece that you want raised up, and that's what this is. It's a big piece. Okay, and then you just tear off the back. They're self-adhesive. Oops. They're usually pretty simple. I'm overcomplicating things right now, which I seem to always do when I'm filming a video, because that's the perfect time, right? I have been crafting all day and working on stuff all day long. I don't know why this just didn't work. Okay, I have it working now. So I'm going to add this on here. Isn't it just beautiful? And I kind of have it more toward the bottom than the top, so there's like a wider on the top than there is on the bottom. Now we're gonna make her veil. I'm so excited. So we're gonna use this beautiful ribbon, and I just kind of have it, we're gonna cut it down a little bit, but I'm just using a glue dot. Let me find a glue dot. I hear a child coming up. He's probably gonna ask me for my car, but I'm gonna ignore him until he starts knocking. So I'm just putting a glue dot in, and then I'm kind of folding it a little bit. And so then I'm going to so I'm just kind of meshing it around with glue dots. Put another glue dot on, because I'm going to actually cover this up with pearls. So I'm adding her veil. Look at how beautiful, you guys. And you can keep it super long if you want, or I'm going to just cut it so it's just right here. There's her veil, and we're not done yet because we're going to add some pearls onto this veil. So I think this one I'm just going to add 2 on. Make sure it's nice and flat. And you might have different size pearls. Everybody has different ones in their class package. These ones are the large ones, so I might just do 2 on this one. We will see. We'll see what it looks like. I might do 3. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 because you can never have too many pearls or rhinestones, you know. Okay, so we have her beautiful veil, and there's card number 1, and here's this one here that I already made. This one has, I probably should have that go up a little bit. There we go. So there's card number 1, and it's so beautiful and so gorgeous. I love it so much. So set this aside, and we're going to move on to card number 2. Card number 2 is this one here with the ovals on the top and this ribbon, and set this stack aside. Okay, so we will have 2 of the Thick Whisper white cardstock, 2 of the Bermuda Bay, 2 of the embossed melon mambo, 2 of the gorgeous grape, and 2 of the watercolor paper, 2 of the Bermuda scallop, 2 of the circles or ovals, and 1 piece of ribbon. Wait, I didn't get that one over there. Okay, I'm gonna cut the ribbon in half. Okay, there we go. Set that over there. Hopefully it doesn't slide off my table. Okay, so let's start with our stamping first. We're gonna stamp on our oval with our Melon Mambo ink, and that's actually a stamp, so it's not gonna be watercolored. And we are using the girl with the birthday girl. Well, I just say birthday girl, she could be a shopping girl. We're using this girl with the bag and the balloons. And then we're using the happy birthday stamp right there. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and just stamp the happy birthday just in this oval. So that's the only stamping for that one with the Melon Mambo. Okay, so that's, we're gonna stamp that. Let's pull out our Stays On ink pad and our mat. So this is going to be stamped on the watercolor paper, because we're watercoloring in every single card, you guys. I love that I'm able to make these technique classes for you. So much fun. Okay, so I've got my Stays On ink pad, and I'm going to ink up this image. And I'm going to stamp it down toward the bottom. I wonder if I should have done the balloons first. Okay, her feet will almost touch the bottom, because that gives you room for the balloons. I'm going to turn mine over. I did not stamp it. I did not ink mine up good enough, so I'm turning it over, and I'm going to re-stamp it. And I'm going to start at the bottom down here and do this again. Really get it in there. There we go. Much better. So I'm also going to stamp the balloons, the 3 set of balloons. And if you notice, there's a little gap in there. And the gap part, you're going to put where her hand is and just press down firmly and lift up. And now, okay, so now we're going to stamp the little package, and it's going to hang from her hand on the right, like that. Okay, perfect. Now that's all of our stamping. So we're going to do some of our watercoloring. And we need all of the colors for this one, all of the 4 different ink pads. We'll go ahead and start with the soft suede. And we're going to squeeze it. It should already be squeezed. Now we want this first one to be, I want it to be really light. So and this is the soft suede. I'm making her dress like a tan, so I'm going to add a lot of water, and I'm going to pull it down here so it's got just really light. And then that's going to be the color of her dress. Just a really light, the tan color. I got a lot of water on my thing. I need to pull off the water. Okay, and this will soak in. Okay, now we want to use the same soft suede, and I want a darker. So I'm going to clean off my aqua pen, and I'm just going to use the the darkest I can, and I'm going to make her hair like a lot darker than her. And I might need to squeeze, than her dress. I might need to squeeze it again to get some darker on there, because you should see a dramatic difference. There we go. There we go. I just want it to be a very big contrast. Okay. And if you want to do, oops, I forgot. If you want to do the lighter color shoes, you can. Just put a little swatch down there. And that's all we need that color for. Now we're going to next do the Gorgeous Grape. Give it a squeeze. And I think I cleaned it off. I'm going to do this balloon here in the grape. And I'm also going to do some stripes. So I will start with this stripe here on the present, and then the next I'm just doing every other. And then that's it. I just wanted to add a little bit of color for the present. So that's all we need the Gorgeous Grape for on that card. Now let's do the Bermuda Bay. It should still be squeezed from before, and I want this to be the darker one. You can add a little bit of water and just do this balloon right here. Okay, that's all I'm going to use that one for. And the Mambo should already be squeezed, and we're going to make the third one a darker version of the Mambo. All right, now we have all the watercoloring done. So set it aside and then come back. Maybe if you want to do all your watercoloring first on all the cards, you can. I'm just cleaning off my brush. Okay, so that's all the watercoloring. The next thing we're doing is putting the card together, so I'll be right back. Okay, this is nice and dry. And we're gonna go ahead and put this card together. Let's start with our card base of our Whisper White thick cardstock. I am going to go ahead and score this since it's thicker cardstock. I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Ooh, that's my cutting blade. That would have been bad. Don't want to accidentally cut it in half. I've done that before on film. Not so funny after the fact. Okay, so I have this folded in half. Set this aside. Let's take our Bermuda Bay base, and we are going to start with adding this piece of embossed melon mambo to it. And I always like to add my adhesive on all 4 sides when I'm using embossed cardstock, so it stays nice and flat. Now we're going to take our piece of ribbon, and I'm just going to use some regular tape, and I'm going to wrap it around, pull it nice and tight, wrap it around, and then I put one tape here, one tape here. While it's upside down, I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive onto the back. And I'll add this right here. Set this aside for a second. We're going to take our little oval that we've already stamped on. We'll add some adhesive to the back, and then we're going to add that onto the scalloped oval like this. Do it where I can see it better. Okay, I'm going to add it on there. And now we're going to take the watercolored paper, and I'm just going to add adhesive on the back side of the right side, and then the middle. And then I'm going to stagger this so there's just about 1/4 inch on the top and the side. And then I'm going to flip this over, and this is again a place where I would use my strips, or you can use dimensionals as well. And I like these because if they're too long, instead of just cutting them, I can just pull them which is great. Okay, these will be good. This will be good. Perfect. I'm going to peel these off. Okay. Like that. And I'm going to add this to the left of my paper right here. And then I'm going to add a little adhesive. Turn your happy birthday over. I'm adding adhesive to the right side of the back. And then I'm going to add just a Stampin' Dimensional to the left side. So one side will be higher. And the reason why is we're going to add it just right here. So there is card number 2. Yay! You did it! Okay, we're going to move on to the last card. And it's this last stack we have right here. So we'll go ahead and separate these into 2 piles. I have 2 Thick Whisper Whites, 2 Basic Black, 2 Embossed Gorgeous Grape, because it's so gorgeous, 2 of the Watercolor, 2 of the Vellum, 2 of the Oval Watercolors, 2 of the Whisper White Banners, and then we have the gems. I'm going to go ahead and cut those into 2. Okay, so it is time to do a little more watercoloring on this one. This one, let's start with our stamping first. We're going to be stamping on this piece here, and we're stamping on the oval. Those are the only 2 places we're stamping on. We're going to be using this Expecting Mom, and then we're using Looking Forward to Meeting Your New Little Miracle. So let's pull out our Stays on Black ink. And I'm just going to start with Looking Forward. And we're going to stamp this kind of in the middle because on the right side we're going to be adding the gems later at the very end. So that'll be just kind of in the middle. Set that aside. I need one of those. Okay, and now let's pull out our foam pad. Wherever I put it. Where did I put my foam pad? It's probably right in front of me. Okay, I literally just had it. Okay, here it is. I seriously just had it. So I'm going to ink up the Expecting Mom with my Stays On ink. Ink it up really good, and I'm going to stamp it right in the middle of my oval. Make sure you press down firmly. There we go. And that's all the stamping we're doing. And now we're just going to be using Gorgeous Grape and Soft Suede for this card. And I'm going to pull out my watercolor paper and then have a paper towel or something like that ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to do something kind of fun in the beginning. We're going to take this piece here of the watercolor paper and we're going to really squeeze your Gorgeous Grape. And we're going to do a fun little squeeze it really good. I want this paper really wet, so I'm just going to squeeze my, it's just going to be with water first, just with the water, okay? A lot of on here, water. And now I'm going to pick up the ink here and I'm going to just kind of, see how it just kind of, it's the coolest thing. It'll just kind of magically spread on there. And we want it to kind of go across the whole thing. I didn't get that really wet down there. Just have a lot of fun with this. And this one's going to take a little bit to dry, so set it aside. And I want mine to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to dry off my aqua painter. I'm going to close this and I'm going to squeeze it again to get some new fresh ink on here. And then I'm going to add some of the darker. So you can keep adding to it to make it darker. You can also just let it dry and then you can do another layer of the darker on there. Okay, I'm going to do one more layer. I'm going to grab my heat tool really quick and you can either just let this set dry or I'm just going to kind of dry this a little bit. And if you want to, it can run as well. If you have it really wet, you can make it run. I'm not going to do that, if possible. Pick some of that up. dry it. I dry on the back as well through the paper. Okay. I didn't want to get it totally dry yet. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this one more time for a fun technique. And then now it's going to be darker, and the darker is going to really pull in here. And it's going to mix in with that other look on here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to let that dry. Let's pull her out, and I'm going to squeeze it, and I'm going to just watercolor her dress so she can have like the purple dress on here. Mine's going to be kind of lavendery. Try not to get on her arm or her fingers if possible. Okay. We're not going to see the bottom half anyway. We're just going to see about that far. All right, put that away, and let's go ahead and do her hair however dark or light you want it. Let me clean this out. Okay. And now I'm going to just make her hair a chestnut brown color. Just really therapeutic too. Watercolor, there we go. And now I'm going to set these aside and let them dry, and I'll be back and we'll finish up this final card. Okay, it's time to finish up this last card, and I'm going to start with my card base, the Whisper White Thick, and I'm going to go ahead and score it at 4 1/4. 4 1/4. You might hear my boys downstairs. Today we're going to actually go do something. I told everyone this morning that we're doing something Christmassy today, so we're going to go down to Salt Lake City tonight and see the lights at Temple Square. It's a big thing that they have every year. They have just the beautiful holiday lights all over. So I said, Mommy's going to work for a little bit, and then we're going to go do something Christmassy as a family. So they're just waiting to go in a little bit when my daughter gets off work. Okay, so we're going to layer the basic black, and then we're going to add this piece of corrugated. I usually use the tear and take when I'm using the corrugated. Just helps it stay down better. If you don't have it, just use your adhesive and give it a good massage so it stays on there. Okay, now we're going to take our watercolor paper, and I'm using all 4 sides again, so it's just nice and sticky on there. Put this in the middle. Get that on there really good. Okay, now we're going to be, I can't even speak. We're going to be doing a lot of lifting, of raising with the dimensionals. So we're going to do 4 dimensionals on the back of our watercolored oval. And then I'm going to put that on to the vellum scallop oval. It just looks so pretty with the vellum. And then we're going to flip this over, and we're going to do 4 more dimensionals just right on top of those other dimensionals through the vellum. And now we're going to add these on the center here, and we're not done. We're going to just take some regular adhesive and put it on this, and this is just going to cover up the bottom hand, and I just have it so just the scallop vellum is peeking through at the bottom. And then we're going to take the gems, the rhinestones, and I'm just going to add these, if I can get this off here. I like to use my bone folder. I'm going to do 1 here. Oops, and I'm going to get it on my finger, and I'm going to transfer it to this. There we go. So now I have our final card. I love all these cards, and I love how they're all different occasions. So it's a really versatile stamp set. So thank you so much for signing up for my class. I hope you enjoyed watercoloring with me today. We might have to do another watercolor class. I enjoyed this one so much. Have a wonderful week, and I will chat with you soon. Bye-bye.
you.